G'day folks, MBS again. Look, I want to talk about brake fluid, okay, the importance of it. Where I'm from, in the tropics, up in far north Queensland in Australia, we need to change our brake fluid yearly. An absolute must, unless you want to end up with brakes like this, where the wheel cylinders are leaking, master cylinder could start leaking, your calipers could start leaking, okay? It's all due to rust in the fluid. The fluid becomes hygroscopic, or it is hygroscopic, which means it absorbs lots of water. And since our humidity up here is in the 60s to 90% most of the time, we get a lot of trouble with our brakes up here. It's recommended every 2 years in most other places, like I think it's below the Tropic of Capricorn, it's about 2 years. But that's debatable on some of the temperatures they get down there and the humidity sometimes. So it all depends on your seasonal conditions. I think I've covered before, it's a rust remover, a paint stripper, yeah? It'll destroy your paint if you allow it to get on it, so don't do that. We're in a bit of a catch-22 situation with bleeding brakes. I know there are devices on the market that let you bleed it all by yourself. That's crap, okay? Those little toggler devices with the non-return valves that you put onto your bleed nipple and you put it into a container, then you come inside and you start pedaling the brake pedal with your nipple open, and supposedly you can bleed your brakes by yourself. No, that's a load of hogwash, absolute rubbish. As soon as you let go of that nipple to let the fluid out, you're letting air in, okay? Especially when you release the brake pedal. As a two-man operation, you know how to do that, yeah? Someone pushes their foot on the pedal, someone releases the bleeder, brake fluid comes flying out, they keep their foot to the floor until you shut that nipple off. Once you've shut that nipple off, they can lift their foot off the brake pedal. Stop air sucking back in. Well, that stupid bloody blade nipple or whatever friggin' thing it is I see on Facebook, one-man operation, they get such great reviews on it, I don't believe it. It's crap. Because it pushes a hose onto the nipple, you loosen the nipple, so already you've created a entry point for air. So every time you lift up the brake pedal, a little bit of air will get sucked back in. Stuff the non-return valve, of course it's not going to suck the brake fluid back up in there, it's going to suck air through that little nipple that you've just undone. Alright, waste of time. Two-man operation, fraught with danger, and I'll explain that in a minute. The best way obviously is a pressure brake bleeder. It's a device that you clamp over your master cylinder, you put a little bit of shock pressure on it, not much, you don't take much pressure, and then you can go and do the job by yourself, open up all the bleed nipples while it's under pressure, and you can just start here, loosen it, go over there, loosen it, go over there, loosen it, come back here, tighten it, tighten it, tighten it, tighten it, and you're done. Yeah, the whole brake bleed is done automatically. We haven't got one, you haven't got one. So we're going to do it a two-man, all right? Now, the danger part. Old V, okay? The master cylinder has probably never been pushed to the floor before, okay? So what do you think is going to be in the ball? A lot of rust, maybe? Wheel cylinders were full of it, just sitting there? That's what you get. Unfortunately, this could happen to you in your old resto that you're doing up. If it's been sitting for a while, you are in a precarious position where it may work and it may not work. We could end up with a leaking master cylinder, who knows. But you're in a catch-22, you've got no choice. That's the only way to do it, okay? So we're going to be doing that. One person pushing, I'm going to be releasing the nipple, and hope for the best that we don't cause any further problems down the track like the master cylinder starts to leak, because we've pushed the cups through the rusty part of the bore, and that's why you change your brake fluid every year, okay, to stop this sort of bullshit happening. And it will happen. It does happen. I've had calipers fail from retracting the calipers when doing a pad replacement. You've got to push the pistons back in, yeah? So as soon as I pushed the pistons back in, I think it was a patrol, We put the pads in, put it all back together, bled the brakes, and next day it was leaking brake fluid. So we had to get the calipers recoat. And that's the danger. Same thing could happen with your master cylinder, and the same thing could happen with the rear cylinders, but generally the rust will form right where the lip is, and if the rubber goes through that rust patch, it'll tear the rubber and it'll start leaking. We have no choice, so I'm going to show you the two-man brake bleed, how, because we have to bleed the brakes, we've still got to adjust them, so we've got to have the system bled properly so we can adjust the brakes properly, okay? Generally, you have a syringe, suck all the brake fluid out of your master cylinder, all the old stuff. Careful you don't drip it onto your paintwork, all right? Dispose of it thoughtfully and properly. Yeah, sure, okay. And any last bits, get some lint-free cloth like I'm using, this blue stuff, and just dip it into the bottom, pick up any crap that may be sitting on the bottom. There will be crap in the bottom of your master cylinder, it'll be all black, grey looking at the bottom, so you try and get all that out. And when we pulled the fluid out of this one, it was a dark yellow. When you see me pouring this, if you see me pouring it, it's actually almost clear. All right, it does have a slight yellow tinge, but it's fresh, it's new. There's no water mixed in with it, so it doesn't look crappy like the stuff that's in there. Okay, we're going to have to continually top this up as we bleed, as the brake fluid comes out the other end. The master cylinder is going to go low. We have to keep topping it up, and I'll be taking care of that. All right, so start at the wheel furthest away from the master cylinder. That would be the left-hand rear in this case. So I'm going to go over there. Mick's going to hop in the car, and he's going to be pumping the brakes, and I'm going to be undoing the nipple every time he pushes the pedal down. I'll open up the nipple, and then I'll close the nipple. He'll lift his foot up, and we'll keep doing that until I see fresh fluid coming out. Once I see fresh fluid coming out, well, the air should have stopped ages ago, but fresh fluid will come out with a little bit of air because I've drained the system. There's no fluid in the lines now except gravity fed, and since the nipples are closed at the back, my master cylinder has not gone down at all, so we have to fill up those rear lines with brake fluid first, so there's going to be a lot of air coming out, or a lot of nothing coming out at the moment. Then we move up to the front and we'll bleed the front. Now, you can make a mess, just leave the nipples open, just let the fluid squirt out everywhere, but you need to hose it off straight away, okay? Because, like I said, it loves to eat paint, and tyres don't like it that much either, so we're going to be bleeding with tyres off, but a lot of the time you may have your tyres and wheels still on, all right? And you don't want to get brake fluid on your tyres because it'll degrade the rubber, and next thing you'll have is an internal blowout blowing out on the inside where it's been weakened by the brake fluid. So you need to get that cleaned off straight away. We're not going to put the wheels on until we're ready to do the final brake adjustment, but we can do the bleed with the wheels off, all right? So let's get into that. And I'll start on the left rear, but because of the way the cameras are all set up, I'll show you on the right rear what we're doing. I've got the camera set up already down the bottom there. So, all right, that's the sequence. Left rear, left front, right front, and when we get all the air out, we should be good to go, and I'll finish off my other video. Okay, here we are on the right-hand rear, bleeding the circuit with new brake fluid. I've got a little hose on here, stop making a mess. It saves us bringing a garden hose and everything in here and hosing the whole place down. I've got that hose just going into a bucket. All I'm going to do is I have to use an open ender. I might be able to get a ring on there and then put the hose back on. Yell out the command, down, and I release it and close it. Up, down. A little bit of fluid comes out. Now when it sputs up, when it spits out the air, you'll feel it in the hose, generally. Down, Now, make sure wheel cylinder's working. Yeah, I know they're new, but they should work. Okay, down. And they work. Up. So we have a lock-up of the rear brakes when he pushes the foot down, so this is all good. Down. I'm satisfied there's no air coming out of that. So we'll take him off and we'll just do the nipple up a bit more. We've got the rears done, and now it's a matter of the fronts. Okay, now we've moved on to the left-hand front. Okay, down. Up. Down. You can see the old fluid. Well, I can see the old fluid coming out. It's all yellow because there'll be fluid still in these pistons. Up. Down. So what we're looking for there, a little bit of air came out there. Up. Down. Now you don't want to be going up and down too quickly because you've got to give it time for the new brake fluid to suck into the piston cavity that you've just expelled, if you know what I'm talking about. It just doesn't instantly take up that space. It just takes just a little bit longer to fill up the master cylinder again. Down. Down. We'll give it time to come out. We'll shut it. Up. Down. Up. Down. Okay, look, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. This takes quite a bit of time to get all the air out and get all the old brake fluid out. So I'll continue on with that. You know what's happening, yeah? It's pretty easy to bleed brakes. All right. A couple of things I could add in would be that after you've finished, you've got it out on the road, you've pressed the brakes and the brake pedal keeps going down about another ½ inch to an inch maybe. You've still got air in the system, okay? So you need to come back and bleed it again. If you press your foot on the pedal, take your foot off the brake, press your foot on the pedal again, and the brake pedal seems taller, the brakes are coming on earlier, the second pump or the third pump, you need to adjust your brakes, okay? So you'll have drums on the rear, yeah? So you'll need to adjust your rear brakes because they'll keep pumping up like that when you need an adjustment. They're the basic two things you just got to watch out for at the end. So as far as brake fluid changing goes, that's how you go about changing your brake fluid. So if you're up in a humid country, every year, change your brake fluid. Fingers crossed that we haven't damaged the master cylinder. Okay, we shall soon see if there's a big brake fluid stain on the floor pad underneath the pedal. When we go to look, or inside we may, oh no, this is on a booster, so it won't be inside on the pedal, it'll be on the outside leaking down the booster. Okay, if you haven't got a brake booster and the master cylinder's against the firewall, then you may find it down on your feet or down the firewall. Fingers crossed. Alright, that's about it for brake bleeds, guys. Just remember the fluid is hygroscopic, so it's going to absorb water. Doesn't matter where you are, whatever country you're in, it's still going to absorb water. So they say every 2 years brake fluid change. You'll see it in your service book. So you've got a brand new car, you'll see it in your service book, change brake fluid, 2 years. All right, but up here, our Mazda dealer for our new car, they change the brake fluid every year under service. Well, I'm doing the servicing now, I'm not taking it back to the dealer. So yeah, I do the brake fluid every year up here. Well, I'm going to do the brake fluid. I haven't done them yet. I've only just thinking about doing my first service on it. Alright, so as far as brake fluid goes, that's about all I could tell you about it. Make sure it's .4. Alright, even if you've got drum brakes on the front, get a .4. Alright, it's a much better quality brake fluid. It can handle the hydrocosidity, I think I said that right, a little bit better. It's not quite as bad, and it's a higher boiling point. Okay, it'll take much higher temperatures before it boils, and that's probably a good point to talk about, is what happens when your brake fluid boils. Bad news, guys, you just lose your brakes. All right, it's happened to me twice, even though I changed my brake fluid, but I was a bit of a hoon back in the day when I was in my early 20s, and I loved speed. And trying to pull up a heavy car in a hurry, yeah, my brake fluid boiled and the pedal just kept going down, and I wasn't stopping any quicker. So yeah, that can happen. So that's why you change your brake fluid often, so that does not happen. And it can happen on long downhill stretches where you've got your foot on the brake all the time to reduce your speed. You could end up getting brake fade, which is just basically your pedal just keeps going down, but you're not stopping. And the harder you push, the more spongy it gets. That's because the brake fluid is boiling, it's vaporizing, vapor compresses. Okay, so your pedal goes down further with no effective additional braking. So that's another thing to watch out for. So I hope that was helpful to you in bleeding your brakes and changing your brake fluid more often. If you know the dangers of not changing your fluid, you know what to expect. Alrighty, and I'll catch you in the next video.